Grabando cámaras. Grabando.
So we rerouted and we came here.
Because I told women, girls, listen, let's cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
If you don't have control over your money, you are not free.
It's not cute to be financially illiterate.
That's very important. Economic independence.
Nobody can empower you. The power lies within.
The power of people is in their heart and what they're willing to put on the line for their convictions.
Everybody's got some kind of gift.
It comes an age when you really don't care what people think about you. And that is so lovely.
Well, I care, but I don't know. It's different.
That's all. Oh, excuse me.
And that's all.
Strike the pose. Strike the pose.
It's wonderful to have you here. It's great to have it back. I see this movie from so many angles. I think of Miranda, and I think she sort of redefined female power on screen. And today, I would love to know how you both define personally power, especially without losing your humanity or using it for a better good.
I think years ago, I would have said, to have clout in the business, have a larger power over more people is what that meant. But as I am older, I think that the most powerful people may not have a range of influence digitally wide, but their power is impactful and intact and extends maybe to the 5 or 6 people in their family who completely depend on their strength and spiritual guidance, the fact of being there for people. I don't think that power needs to be something we define as in terms of the old tropes of male power. I think power is something inside that you have that can be shaken, but that resiliency as a person is the most valuable thing. I don't like the word women's empowerment, honestly. I think it's diminishing, weirdly. The power of people is in their heart, in their soul, and what they're willing to put on the line for their convictions. And that's real power to me.
I totally agree with you. I always say that nobody can empower you. The power lies within, and it is one's duty to access it and discover it and feed it and exercise what lies within every woman. And the more you do it, the more you realize how resilient and how strong you are that sometimes you don't believe. So what would you say, Anne?
First of all, I just have to say, what an answer. I love it. I'm going to have a good time thinking back on that. And I love what you're saying about how there are different definitions of power. And there is that sort of large world-defining power that, is at the head of empires. But there's also the intimate power that we feel. And I love that maybe we're moving into a time where it's not about valuing one over the other, but actually being empowered to respect each other just because the other person exists. Being curious about how the other person that you're speaking to is powerful in their own life, in their own way, because everybody's got some kind of gift. And that curiosity about who is sitting in front of you, having the space to be that level curious, that feels powerful to me. For me, though, I've always defined power in terms of freedom. I think that, and then just picking up on what you were saying, what you do with that freedom is very, very personal. How you choose to use that freedom, how you choose to share it. Do you just charge forward thinking only of yourself? Or do you look back and see who maybe could use a hand to come up to the front of the line? And that winds up being what defines you and what defines your life and your character.
Andy, at some point in the movie, and I really wonder what part 2 is going to be, was debating between gaining that level of success and respecting who she was and her values. And I think that today, especially because we are so exposed to digital media, and to being validated externally by somebody else, that I think that for women, it's particularly very challenging to believe that they have to be everything that people think that we need to be, from a great wife and a great mother and somebody amazingly, professionally competitive. It is insane. So if there's something I can learn from both of you, we can all learn from both of you, is how do you make that balance? How do you not succumb to the pressures of external validation of what people think that Meryl Streep should be or that Anne Hathaway should be?
Well, I don't pay any attention to it. I mean,
I think it's amazing that you don't have social media, by the way. I heard you say that yesterday.
it's a
amazing.
very nice life.
It's a very nice life, absolutely. That is a full-time job.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And my daughters, I have 3 daughters who are actresses. My son, who is a musician and a producer, he's tangentially involved. So he's a little bit older. He's 47, I think, 46, soon 47. And the girls are everywhere from 30, whatever, 4 to, I don't know what they are now. I mean, they're
From
all
Love
grown up.
Story, I've
But
seen Grace to
Oh, yeah. Grace and Mamie and Louisa.
Louisa on The
Gilded
Gilded
Age,
Age.
yes.
I'm obsessed with that. By the
They're
way.
all,
Yeah.
I know, they're all in their way, making their way, but they are much more on this. And they, all I do is hear them contending with it, saying, "Oh, this is so stupid." And I say, why are you on it? Mom, you don't understand. You have to be on it. You have to be. And I say, well, and they say, it was different for you. And I say, yeah, it was, but it was better. I mean, it was, I feel free in a way they don't. So I don't know what people are saying about me. I don't care. I've been around too much and too long, and it's okay not to know.
Mhm.
I think it's pernicious for young girls. And we're in a moment where I think people are around the world. I've never seen a book have an effect globally like Jonathan Haidt's book about the deleterious effects of social media on children.
That's the anxious
Yeah.
generation.
Anxious Generation, he's got a new one.
Mhm.
But I think he really, they've changed the law first in Australia, and then it's sort of swept the world. Not in the United States, of course,
Yeah.
but because our tech overlords live there. But I think maybe at some point they will have to take responsibility for what they're doing to young people.
But what you just said is so liberating. It comes an age when you really don't care what people think about you. And that is so lovely.
Well, I care, but I don't know. It's different.
And how is it for you?
So I have social media professionally. I don't have it in my personal
Yeah.
life, so I don't spend. I did for a few years, and because I wanted to know what it was. I wanted to see what was going on. I didn't want to not engage in a cultural moment, so I kind of went inside of it, and I realized I was happier without it. So I put down social media and I started reading again. So I do have that protection. I work with this is a slightly privileged, actually it's a very privileged position. I work with a social media manager.
Yeah.
She manages the account. We create posts together, but then I don't know what happens to them.
Yeah.
So I have that. One of the things I want to say that I feel, I mean, it's sad on one hand, but on the other hand, there's real opportunity inside of this, which is if you look at the history of the world, society has never gotten women right. Society has never told us anything accurate about ourselves. And we've never been in a position where we could just tell people who we are. We're in the process of managing that and navigating that and getting ourselves to that place. So I'm not terribly concerned about what other people have to say because I'm not necessarily sure that I trust their point of view. I know how I feel. I know how the people that I invite into my life in an intimate way are and think. I know their levels of kindness. I know their point of view. And that's really who I trust. And everybody else, I just wish the best for. And that's all. Oh, excuse me.
And that's all.
Stealing my line.
Don't mean to. It just happens.
So, what part of this part 2 feels closer to real life than the first film ever did?
Which part feels closer to real life? Oh, well, early on, well, I don't know if you haven't seen you've seen the first 20 minutes.
I left. I didn't want
What?
to spoil them for me. I did
Wow,
not want
you
to
are
spoil them for me.
strong.
That's so interesting. Yeah,
I
good
didn't
girl.
want to spoil
I think
it for
that's
me.
a good idea.
It would cause me so much anxiety.
Yeah,
For
it's
the
like
next
having
month.
the
Of
appetizer
course,
and then you have
for
to
the
leave
next
the
month, I
restaurant.
want to see the whole thing all at once.
I respect that.
But you know what? I think that what is so endearing about the first part, we loved how us women were portrayed because we want to feel more powerful, because we want to feel more in control, because we want to feel that we have the choice of making the right decisions. So let me say this to you. You're not the same person that you were 20 years ago. What would you say to Anne 20 years ago that you know today? And that could be a great advice for everybody out there.
I know right now it feels like a lot of it's about you. None of it's about you. Just pay attention to everybody else. And just the thing that I know now that I didn't know then, I'm so much better at being on a team now. I'm a much better teammate now. I understand. I don't know. I just value the experience of it and more so than I fear messing up. And when I made the first film, I was so scared of making a mistake. And now I just realize that, especially on this team, I'm with people who just want me to do great.
And also make many mistakes.
And make many mistakes.
Yeah.
And I'm safe in this environment to, not only make mistakes, I have to get it right sometimes, but to just be a little bit freer and a little bit more trusting and a lot braver. And that when I look back on the experience, I won't have a relationship with the final film the way the audience will. My relationship is going to be with the time I had making the film. So I want to have a great time. And I'm so happy that I got to, in a way, get a little bit of a do-over with who I am now.
Yeah, that's great. For you, Meryl, what was the best part of doing part 2?
Well, getting the band together was really kind of great. It was fun because you never get to do that. You make a movie, 20 years in the past, and it's that's another life, and just to revisit it it's like jumping into an old dream or something. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But to play Miranda in this one, you'll see she's it's I think a realistic portrayal of someone at her age, at her place in her business, where she is in her personal life. She's definitely, I would say, looser, as equally not mean, but equally sharp, expecting the best from everybody, because she still expects it from herself. All of that. But the winding down of a career, and when and where, and if, in fact, to change. If you have the privilege and the ability to do that, it's a unique perspective for a movie. People don't, I don't think there's been anything like that. So that was interesting.
I think that everybody that is in the public eye, people tend to ask, like, how do you do it? Like, how do you handle your career, but blow dry your hair and look for the dress and, take care of the kids and have a personal life and a husband and whatever it is. And there's always a price to pay. There's always a price to pay. What is the biggest price that you paid to become who you are today? And
I'm thinking about it. And I thought when you mentioned earlier what we would be talking about, and I wonder if there's a way to ask ourselves, what is gained by being ambitious? What is gained by being in a partnership where you can pursue your dreams while knowing that you have responsibly created a home life that is nourishing to your family? What is gained by feeling empowered by being able to financially provide for your family. What does that feel like? What does it feel like to have a partner that values that about you? And like I said, you're a part of a team and you each bring something amazing. And yeah, maybe your family looks a little different than the typical family, but that doesn't mean you're not happy. So everything in life, not just being a woman and wanting to have a career and having a family, all of those things, everything in life costs something because there's not unlimited time, because life is special, because because it's finite. So I just get asked about that a lot, but I can't honestly say that I connect to this idea that being ambitious makes me some kind of a victim or that I'm missing out on something. I love my life. I want to feel joy and gratitude. And I don't know. And I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go. But I have to say that I do think a lot is gained. And the more we work together and the more we support each other and the more we see each other and the more we value each other, the more we're going to experience that collectively.
Beautifully said, because everybody thinks it's a sorrow.
What if it's
And
not?
it's an amazing opportunity because you get to do so many things.
And maybe there's moments of that, but there's
Of
also
course.
moments of extraordinary happiness.
You know, my mom always said it's also very lovely not to have to ask your husband if you can buy a dress.
That's so amazing.
That is so liberating.
That's so amazing. My mother, I remember being a little girl at the top of the stairs and hearing the argument downstairs. And the argument was about money and buying our clothes for school, the kids. And he was saying, it's too much. You're spending too much. And she was saying, well, I have a little, in my own account. And he said, well, then you use it because, you're not getting any more from what I make. And I made a decision in my head that I will never, ever, ever have to ask somebody to buy my children's clothes or anything.
Yeah.
I just wanted that independence.
Yeah.
That's very important. Economic independence is everything.
Yeah.
We just gave a 1 month long masterclass on finances
Mm-hmm.
Good.
because I told women, girls, listen, let's cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
If you don't own your money, if you don't have control over your money,
Mm-hmm.
you are not free.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to work on.
And it's not cute to be financially illiterate.
It's not cute anymore.
It's not adorable and
Yeah,
like
it's not
all of those
sweet,
things.
yeah.
And it's a choice. If you want to embrace that role in your life, I'm not here to judge you. However, I also did make a decision when I was a little girl that I would never rely on anybody to pay a bill for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have lived by that code. And it has defined my life.
Well, same for me. Girls, great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I wish you the best. We're very excited.
Right back
I did
at
not
you.
spoil my 20 minutes.
So
I'm watching it on the 30th of April
Good
from
girl.
beginning to end in all its
Willpower.
splendor. Exactly.
Wow.
That's willpower. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Great,
much,
great
sweetheart.
meeting
So
you
good
and
to see
seeing
you.
you
Thank
again.